All right.
I have like 20 of them. Go ahead. Just.
Well, we're at 1 o'clock, so we can officially start. So I have to start every What If panel as we are the Watchers. We are your guide through these vast universes. So follow us and ponder the question.
What if?
And I'm actually bald, y'all, so I qualify.
We have our own Watcher right here.
You look a lot like Luther Wright too. So.
Watcher is my cousin.
Jeffrey.
You calling him Luther?
I do. I don't understand why. It's a mind block thing.
So, hello, I will start by having the panelists introduce themselves, just name who you are, and your favorite episode from season 3 of What If. So please pull yourself into just season 3. So I will begin. I'm the moderator of this panel. My name is Alli Martin. I write sci-fi and fantasy. I'm a frequent panelist on the 42 cast, which is basically Dragon Con in podcast form. Also, if you happen to like Stargate, I'm launching a podcast in 2026 called Gate Crashers, but we will also talk about stuff like Marvel because I can't shut up about Marvel. If you want to find me on anything social media, I'm probably under the name Self-Winding. My favorite episode from season 3, to pretty much no one's surprise, is what if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier, because I am Team Bucky forever. Let's go Michael and then work for us.
Hey guys, my name is Michael Collins. I am a theory prognosticator and dad joke enthusiast for the Fandom Hybrid podcast.
Woohoo!
We do Marvel, con culture, and fantasy podcasts. And as no surprise to anybody that knows me or follows me on the Sci-Fi Classics track, my favorite episode was What If Howard the Duck Got Hitched? Because I loved it. It was a breath of fresh air, and and it continued one of the things that I wondered about from season 1. I mean, season 1 when the wonder of Howard wonder if they actually stayed together. So, and they did, and I was happy, and I got Birdie, and I'm happy about that too.
Yay! Oh, hello everyone. My name is Montel Thompson, also known as Navy Montel across social media. I am a little bit of everything, content creator primarily, if you just put it all that way. I'm part of the Blurred's Eye View podcast, also the Roomful of Blurs podcast, and I have my own show, the Blurred Corn Convos, where I talk to other Blurred creators about what they do in their journey in being a Blurred. And this is my first year paneling at Dragon, so I'm very, very excited for this. I would have to say episode 1.
The
mech of it.
The mech, yeah. What I refer to as the Pacific Rim AU.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It takes me back to the days of kaijus and large mechs, and I thought it was actually a really genius episode. It was the way it was presented and just the premise of it. I was transfixed, and then I had to go to work. It's like, dang it! Okay, it's fine. I gotta deal with duelists instead of watching this again. So that's my life.
Hey everybody, my name is Nick Frutiger. I'm a behavior analyst and a semi-professional panel member. This is my second year doing panels on purpose officially at Dragon Con. If I had to pin it down, I was fully prepared. She said favorite episode, and I'm like, I've got it. And she said 3rd season. I said, oh.
Don't worry, we'll talk about everything at some point, but I wanted to.
I would have to say Old West. And I think
1872?
If that was the Old West one, yes.
1872.
I have Old West is my name of the episode. But yes, just I think narratively, it's like a nice story. I didn't feel like I didn't know what was going on, and I liked it start to finish on its own, so that was good.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. So you actually got me started on this. So the first season of What If was pretty dark. And it was more of a true representation of what the What If comics had been like. So what did you think of those episodes that were more comical, like What If Howard the Duck got hitched?
I mean, that and the Thor episode when we went to Vegas are 2 of my favorite episodes. So it's like, but it's like I like them being lighter, especially when it breaks up like the Doctor Strange episode in the first season where that was just so freaking dark. And It's like, you can't just have, because you learn from the DCEU that you can't just have all dark stuff. You have to break it up sometimes in order for people not to just be like, oh, this again. It's like, you kind of have to have a break in there to break it up. So I mean, other than being a comic book fanatic, I think I probably would have enjoyed it anyway.
What about you, Ben? Did you like the lighthearted, especially you, because you read all the What If comics?
I appreciated the lightheartedness because if you've ever read the comics, they don't play. You die, you die.
Yeah.
If you change, you change. Especially with what if all the X-Men died on their first mission?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just sat there and was like, if someone in a movie company sees this, we're doomed. Okay, we are done. But I like the lightheartedness. It's nice to change it up, so that way you don't become angry.
You didn't feel like it got too lighthearted? I'm asking because I did 42 cast for What If, and there was a lot of pushback from other people feeling like it was too lighthearted. It was too not recognizable as a What If.
I think they used too much of the lightheartedness. While I appreciated what they did, I think they went a little bit too much instead of straight away from what If is really all about. Alternate timelines with specific stories, or bring back more of the stories from the comics into these, incorporate them into the seasons, so a younger generation can see, oh wow, this was in issue number so and so, so they can go back and check it out. The goofy ones, they were fun, but after a while they got a little bit aggravating. But I appreciated the lightheartedness of it all.
So 1602 and 1872 are two actual runs in the comics.
Yes.
The What If episodes are totally not it's just kind of like pulling that thought thread. Would you like to see more things like that?
I would.
Okay.
100,000%.
Yeah,
Just to see the challenge of how it would translate from the comics to the screen.
I will say that I'm glad that they did not do the actual 1872 line, because that is heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh, it's like watching the end of a Batman movie. You know something bad's gonna happen no matter what.
It's rough.
I am a escapist at heart, and I think I go to superheroes and fantasy to see things that don't happen every single day. So if you, I don't know, give a super person Alzheimer's, Nick is not the target demographic. I'm like, oh, I see that already, man. So yeah, and the one where it's like, you guys were talking about how dark season 1 is, and it is like, Captain Carter, hey, that's fun. T'Challa, Star-Lord, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And you're high. Yeah. And then episode 3, everyone dies. Episode 4, everyone dies. Episode 5, everyone dies. And I'm just like, oh.
Zombies.
But episode 5 gets to zombies, and my kid and all the zombie fans scoot up in their seats, and I'm just like, oh, it's zombies. If you do zombies right, one of the characteristics that defines the genre is a sense of futility. You can dabble in other stuff, but if you don't have it a little futile, it's not going to feel very zombie-ish.
Yeah.
And they did it. So yes, I think I like the lighthearted episodes, but that doesn't mean silly necessarily.
Yes.
The genre animation lends itself to certain things well. In live action, I seem to like the parade of characters, but in animation, it seemed so busy that I felt like I didn't know for sure what was going on sometimes. And yes.
Do you feel like it went overboard?
I've learned because of Dragon Con that if I'm not sure I like something, not to say that it's bad. So like Mike's Howard the Duck episode. I say it that way on purpose. I think if that was live action, it would be one of my favorite things on earth. Because you see so many amazing people, and the idea that what are they doing, a chateau or something? They're setting up. It's just craziness. That might appeal to me in live action, but with everyone just coming at each other at the same time in animation, well, it's cheaper in animation. We can animate that.
Right.
So they kind of went for it, but it was like, I don't know. It's built around a premise, and they just go crazy.
It's harder. Actually, I do think I agree with you that it's harder to see everything that's going on. I had to watch it several times to catch like some visual gags that are in that. There's also a huge difference between watching it on your smaller screen and watching, like I normally watch it in my bedroom, so I've got a small screen in there, versus if I went out to our living room and watched it on a bigger screen. So like sometimes just like that, you don't get to see necessarily as
Which
much.
of y'all, you said Red Guardian as a
Yes.
favorite? So that, I did want to say, like with that and the silliness, another thing about animation is like, David Harbour can't do facial expressions. So animated characters have to do a lot more crazy movement, which isn't exactly the movie version of Red Guardian. So you may like it, but it's just they're gonna have to do a lot in animation to say, I am crazy person, see how I do, my friend. And it's some people are gonna be like, I'm talking about Hanukkah. Some people are gonna be like, could you tone it down, Red Guardian? I listen to their podcast a lot, so I'm
And that was
stealing
my
everything
thought. I was
can.
like, I don't like Red Guardian in this version. So yes, what you just said just made absolute
He's got to act to the
sense.
back row in animation.
Yeah, that was the comment that was brought up against me was like, but it was so cartoon logic. I was like, I didn't mind that it was cartoon logic because it was Bucky and Alexi on a road trip, and that was all that I cared about.
The
It was
Buddy
almost
movie-
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, it was Thelma and it was Thelma and Louise for a moment.
Yeah.
When you
But
do
like-
kooky characters as a buddy
Yeah.
comedy, that is fun. I like that they
Yeah,
do that.
I did not like the question that he has when Bucky pulls out the giant gun. He goes, "Where did you have that?" And I was like, but I was also like, you know what? That goes entirely with the MCU because there's so many times when I'm like, where did you even have that?
Right.
So like to me, it's just like that's all part of the genre, and so I didn't have any problem with it. And other people were like, it's so cartoon logic.
Oh,
Like,
and Sebastian Stan can't emote the same in animation.
Oh no.
So I do. I liked it on principle. I like things with
Yeah.
Bucky on principle, but it's you have to do a slightly different version of them just to make it work.
Well,
Just
he is
straight face the whole
very
time.
eyes.
Yeah.
Straight face the whole time.
I could feel it.
Also, real quick, just to respond to Montel, because like him, I actually own like 15 to 20 What If comics, and I love them. And it's like, because one of my favorites, I agree with him that the comics are really dark. Like, there's
They're
one
really dark.
that when What If Professor X got the Gibbositoric and became Juggernaut.
Oh my gosh,
That
that
one
one was so.
And it's like the end, spoiler alert, the end has him floating, and he ran so hard that he lifted off the planet and floated into space and kept floating. And kept floating. The end.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to
it's-
Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I think the reason I like this series, like I like the What If series, is because they kind of the way they stick to like having individual stories. When they started linking them together, I was just kind of like, okay,
So we're gonna talk about that.
yeah, I'm not sure. if-
Yeah, I definitely got my opinion about that one. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
but it's like but the way they ended, I was like, okay, I get it. But it's like most of the What If, the reason you like What If is just like why you like Tales of the Crypt. It's just like why you like the Twilight Zone. It's like their individual, like they're-
Anthology
Yeah,
series.
it's the anthology. It's like
Yeah.
one thing, then they're done with it. Then it's one thing, then you're done with it. And that's kind of the thing that it started as.
One of the things that I feel like we get, particularly in this What If series, is a lot of unusual team-ups. So, like, what unusual team-up did you enjoy? We'll focus on season 3, but you can go to the other seasons too for this. if you've
I
got
like
something.
Darcy and Hogan in the Christmas episode. just out of the blue. That's just something that was out of the blue. I like how they just sprinkled Darcy all over the place, but that episode where he sent her out for cherries
Yes.
is like,
Oh my god.
it was hilarious. But but it worked because it's like Happy trying to maintain order and not being able to, and Darcy just going around bringing up
Being
permanent words
Darcy.
off. Wow, like this, it was a great episode.
On the Feast of Steve Rogers.
Wow, that was hard. I have to go with Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop.
That was good.
They
That
were
was-
so good together.
The chemistry was natural. You could tell someone did the right thing and did a good job in putting them together.
Yeah.
It worked out so well. It was so engaging that you could have just made the episode all about them. That's it. Nothing else. Just let's see where you're gonna go with this. I enjoyed that.
And
Yeah.
so out of left field for
Yeah.
that.
I would not have expected that to work, and it worked so well.
I'm gonna use this question as an excuse to cheat and be the first one to mention Thor's Storm. So just there are characters that you don't know what they're going to do with them. So when she shows up as part of a team and she can be super, super powerful, but balanced by the people that she's with. So it's like they have their, I mean, what do you call them at that point? Are they a multiverse team? A multiverse Avengers already or something?
I called them the Exiles because they're closest to that makeup anyway, so, and
I didn't think of that.
they use, one of the Watchers refers to them as lowercase e exiles, but I heard uppercase e exiles, and I was like, yeah, they're totally exiles.
That was done for you. They did
It
that
was,
for you.
yeah.
So they were Schoolhouse Rock exiles, you know?
But so if you're not sure how to bring in a character and you have them working with somebody else, it can kind of give you a chance to temper and try them a little. Riri is the same thing in this season. It would be
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
those two, where it's like, I like this character, I want to do something with them, but if I have them next to someone else, I can kind of do their awesomeness in
Gotcha.
places.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, nobody said Agatha and Kingo,
No.
and I don't know why.
My animation thing in live action, I think that could have been awesome. But it's the episode. Go ahead.
Well, part of it, I mean, like, the animation, the thing that's the most interesting about dance numbers is live dancers.
When you have a computer generate 300 sprites moving exactly the same,
Yes.
it uses something.
Yes, but I still liked the two of them together. I had not expected those two characters to play off of each other in the way that they did. And in this both antagonistic but friendly, and like where you sometimes weren't sure, are they really against each other? Are they
They're frenemies.
really? Yeah, they are totally frenemies, and like that I found really entertaining. And I never would have put those two characters together, and so that's part of why I was like, this is fun.
Yeah.
And that version of Agatha is more of a showboat and an egotist.
Yeah.
And I think the Agatha we see in the series doesn't mind the spotlight not being on her if she's getting what she wants.
Mhm.
You go
Yes.
ahead. But this one is, so the visionary who put the two of them together said, this is an Agatha with a huge ego and this is drama kid Agatha. And yes,
Yeah.
that was really, really fun. And
Yeah.
anything with Kumail Nanjiani is fun. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun one. What do you think about characters who are introduced in what if stories? Do you think it's a good place for the MCU to introduce a character or to bring in like a new character aspect to them? Or does it just not work for you? You are shaking your head hard.
That's why I dislike the Riri one, because we knew basically, me having read no comics, I knew basically nothing about her, except that she briefly appeared in Black Panther 2. And here she is in this episode, and I think I'm supposed to like her, but I don't know her.
Mhm.
Is she the main character of that? Is she supposed to be the hero of that episode? By the way, that episode is all kind of whacked. I didn't get any motivations out of anybody. And how did the Earth explode and people are still alive? And Mysterio, like, what was his whole?
That could have been its own episode.
It did not work for me at all. And so
That was the plot armor episode.
I mean, I think that's because this was supposed to come out after Ironheart, because Ironheart was so delayed.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to know more about Riri and
Yes.
like her more before
Yes.
we saw that.
Yes.
But since that didn't happen, it just didn't land with me.
I'm gonna
Oh, well, I'd say they should have actually had Riri in the same school where Peter Parker was for one of the, I forgot which one. It was one of the latest animated,
Across the
Friendly neighborhood
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man.
Was that? No, that was Into the Spider-Verse.
That was Into the
tech
Spider-Verse.
school that Norman Osborn hosted.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
the
friendly,
TV
friendly
show.
neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would have made
that
sense. That would have made
Yeah.
sense.
And that would have given
sense.
the audience a much better appreciation for Riri instead of her just coming in off the street as a tech genius.
But Riri seems to have a pattern of failure in everything they put her in, and I mean, she kind of did some cool stuff in Wakanda Forever, but it's like in her show and in this What If, she just keeps taking the hits, and I really like they show her being awesome a little bit more. But yeah,
I was gonna say, to kind of go on the flip side of what she said, yeah, the Riri episode for this season was kind of weird But then you have like from season 2, the Kahori episode
Yeah.
was amazing because
Yeah.
this was an
Mhm.
original character, and just the way that they brought her in, the way they introduced her story, it was amazing. So like when she popped back up in season 3, even though it was kind of weird the way they brought her back in for season 3, but I was like, okay, she's here. I'm
Yeah,
here.
you already knew the character at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's the difference between them doing a character who was wholly new
Mhm.
versus one who has in Marvel history. And so they were assuming that some people would know who Riri Williams was versus no one knows who Kahori is.
No one knows who
Kahori is new.
Mhm.
But
So-
Corey got her origin story in What If.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, an animation might be a better, now that we're kind of moving away from origin stories in movies with the 2 big ones that just came out, it's like start in the middle of the situation.
Mhm.
Maybe animation is a good place to take an entire episode to show a fun origin if you want to, and it did. It worked for Kahori, but I don't know. We'll discuss this next year, how well it worked for Kahori if she shows up in something in live action. Because as it is, yes, it was a great episode.
Which I hope she
Is
does.
it a good introduction?
Me
Will
too.
people be confused if she shows up in live action?
Oh, people will absolutely be confused if
Yeah.
she shows up in live action.
We won't, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
people.
There's so many people who are not watching the Disney Plus show.
And I think that hurt Captain Carter.
Yes.
Because that moment in Doctor Strange 2 is just, those of us who are watching What If are like, oh, they got Captain Carter, that's awesome. But it wasn't the explosive moment that maybe they wanted it to be because people weren't watching cartoons all.
But
Correct.
still, people knew who Haley Atwell was.
Yes.
So they recognized who the character was. They knew who Peggy was. So that wasn't as much of a stretch. But I mean, like, where you've got characters in, say, Thunderbolts who were introduced in Disney Plus shows, or who had their most recent versions and story took place in a Disney Plus show. People weren't ready for it.
I think it's a
We'll
slippery
be
slope.
talking about that more on Tuesday.
I honestly think it's a slippery slope because the way they're doing it now, there was a time where if a movie came out and you had a specific character, all you did was see that character move. You
Mhm.
saw them interact, but you didn't have any origin story, which garnered an interest into doing research on that particular character. And if we go back to what If is all about, there were no character introductions. It were just stories about particular characters in a certain situation.
All characters that we already knew.
And
Because
then-
it's part
For the
of
most part.
the Marvel universe.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't think What If should be that if it's not going to be done well.
So you were excited about Birdie. Was Birdie's new or?
No, she's not new.
Is she not?
No,
I
Birdie's-
wasn't sure.
No, Birdie's not new.
Okay.
My history's a little.
Is that what she was called in the comics?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
So Birdie is not new, but the way they brought her in, I appreciated what they did because it's pretty extensive. If you actually go back into the comics.
Mhm.
So, in that case, it worked. But there isn't a whole lot of history for her to be brought in and say, okay, don't forget this. Whereas if it were an established hero that's been in the comics,
Yeah.
and you bring him into What If, and now you've got this massive origin story to try to
Right.
introduce them, it just wouldn't work. You'd only have 5 minutes of screen time.
How did people feel about using the Hood but not Parker Robbins?
I just thought it was weird. I was like,
Yeah.
because most people aren't going to remember that. Even if you watch the series, you're not. I mean, that was kind of a throw off, like it floats off into the distance. But it's
Yeah.
like once you get into it, you're not going to really know. You probably might not even recognize that until the penultimate episode where he actually meets Mephisto. Spoiler, sorry. But yeah, until he meets him and he actually gets the hood, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that makes more sense. But it's like, I appreciated how they did it, but it just kind of, I wish they would have introduced it better in a different way than that, because I was like, I get it, but it's kind of weird to have it go from 1800s to modern day and survive 20 years without knowing what the hell happened to it.
Well, even just having it on somebody different
Right.
was kind of.
And I think that it's okay because that's a different universe. It's not the same universe.
Yeah, it's
So-
not necessarily the same universe, but
So it's not the same hood.
it's still like, it's
our
an
first
odd,
introduction.
it's your
Yeah.
first introduction, I mean,
Oh,
our
it's
timeline.
definitely odd.
this was the first time we were seeing the hood and it wasn't that character, and I thought that was an odd choice for them to make with the release schedule.
Oh, and Birdie's a totally original character. Completely original.
See, you say original, you say not. What is the truth?
The truth is that we are at Dragon Con. That is the truth.
So if she was created, I love it. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm an apologist, but yes, I really love her character, and the way that they scaled her. I mean, it's weird because the three of them, Storm, Birdie, and Cohorty, like the way their powers were scaled so big. Like
Yes.
like Birdie came in and she's like really powerful all of a sudden, and it's like you know she was special from the Howard the Duck episode, but this actually shows it, and it's kind of shocking at first, but then it's like once they get into the final fight, you're like, okay, it kind of makes more sense for her to have those powers, because if she didn't, she'd be dust, basically.
The Google says that Birdie the Duck is an original character to What If.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of who I remember.
I'll
I'll admit that I'm old, okay? I've got 4,000 comics.
Oh. He just said there's a Birdie in the comics, but it's not the same.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Both
So
original
I
and
was
unoriginal.
right, but I was wrong.
Actually, no.
The Ginkgo biloba stopped working about 2 days ago.
So let's talk about that series arc. So how did you like having a series arc? Do you feel like it made a stronger narrative? Do you feel like it helped you care about characters? Or do you just want it to be an anthology story?
If I would say the problem with a lot of these things, and this is my whole thing about the Western episode, less is more. So if in the first season they save the multiverse, where do you go from there? And in the subsequent seasons, they have to save it more. And they just keep doing that. And once you know they do it in season 1, you're kind of watching it happen in season 2. And you're like, how are they going to make this even bigger? So when they double down on saving the multiverse, I think that was that arc thing made it narratively challenging. And smaller stories, I think, were more resonant. So that was hard. But I mean, it took it to interesting places.
Yeah.
When you asked me my favorite episode and I wasn't going to say the Western, I would have said probably the last episode, because there were a lot of really cool things that happened in there. But yeah.
I actually think that I can appreciate it, but it's like I like more. I think just more original characters, like as opposed to just bringing. I appreciate that they brought Peggy Carter back again and again and again, but I would have liked to see like just something else.
More characters, not a regular cast.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have kept this an anthology, just to see the uniqueness of each of the stories, to see who they bring in. It kind of makes it more exciting to know who is going to be in the next episode and how they implement them in that particular story. Even if they don't go from the original comic stories, I would love to see the imagination that goes into this particular episode of What If.
I was going to say, it felt like season 3 was a little more disjointed because of the fact that seasons 1 and 2 is like, you have some individual stories, but they all came together at the end of the season to create this one story. It's kind of like having Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and all of them have their individual stories and then coming together for the Avengers. And then you start season 3, and the stories are kind of all over the place, like an anthology. And then at the end of the season, you take this 1 or 2 episodes and you kind of close the whole thing out. And it just felt really weird and rushed. And I don't know, because again, you get to this last episode and you're like, how did Birdie and Cohorty end up in this this collective, because you don't see any build up to that, and I think it just kind of made season 3 just feel a little bit incomplete for me.
Got a point.
I don't mind there being an overall story, because I do think the question of like, Uatu's been like interfering a lot. He's not a watcher anymore by any definition of the word. He hasn't been since season 1. He's been subtly interfering here and there. I do need to see a consequence for that, for no longer being a watcher, but actually actively participating in things. And I'm glad we got to see his conflict with the other watchers and what that's like. What I didn't like is, in the end, like, they just all became gods, like smashing against each other, right? Because the Watchers are so powerful, and now we've granted Watcher-like powers somehow magically to all these mortals, and we're just the last episode was just one long fight scene of like pointless, punches and kicks and things, which had no consequence because they were all, omnipotent, all of them, and no one was getting hurt, and no one was winning because they all had equal powers, and it was like the longest, most boring fight scene I've ever seen. Because things look cool, but there's no consequences to any of these punches and kicks, right? Or power beams or whatever. So it was that was where it fell completely flat for me. I'm like, this is the worst conclusion. I don't like it at all.
And you're also talking about Man of Steel, where you have indestructible people hitting each other over and over again for a while, and you're like,
The thing, I'm team anthology. I would have preferred it to continue to just be anthology series. But the thing when I was thinking about like, well, what is the series arc? And when I started thinking about it, the character arc is all Uatu, and he goes from passive to active, from knowledge to wisdom, and I like that. When I think about the character, like Uatu specifically, I feel like the series does a good job of giving us that change. I agree with you. I don't like everybody has Watcher power suddenly, and it's like you said, it's not fulfilling. But the characterization of Uatu, I think, was the strongest part of that narrative story. And but the reason why it would work is if they bring Uatu into the MCU, and this is essentially an origin story for how he interacts with the rest of the universe. So I'm hoping for that. Otherwise, I too would have liked for it to have just been an anthology show that had a wider cast of characters that we could just continue to do. Well, what if this crazy thing, and what if that crazy thing?
Also, I might be in the minority here, but I actually like the Dragon Ball Z fight in the last episode. I'm a sucker for people punching and doing all kinds of really fast punches and kicks and having powers spilling all over the place. I was enthralled.
I very much enjoyed the we're going to erase you from existence, and then like all of the different versions popping out of them.
Incredible.
That was amazing. Like give me that, but I don't.
And I wish I could have had better control of my TV where I could just like pause.
It was really hard.
well, that, and I mean, like Across the Spider-Verse does that, where they intentionally crowd the screen with things saying, no, don't try and see everything, you won't. It's full of goodies, glance at what you can. It's almost jokingly done where it's like, those shots were amazing. And your eyes are going like, whoa. But yes, that was, I understand where you guys are coming from, like I said, with amping up. But I was the target demographic that likes the Shazam moment where it's like, you're all Watchers now. I was the one who's like, they're all Watchers.
What do you think might be next for Uatu?
I was going to say, what do you guys think of, spoilers for those who haven't seen it, but Ultron getting his little, not quite redemption, but not quite not redemption arc?
Too late.
For him to be that powerful in the first episode, and then to kind of see the Watchers just walk through him in the second episode was kind of anticlimactic for me.
Yeah.
But it served a purpose in showing how powerful that the Watchers were. Where they're like, you just saw Ultron saw him almost like destroy everything, like literally everything. And then you see the Watchers just walk through and get and destroy and just blink him out of existence, which ironically enough he almost did to Uatu in the penultimate episode of season 1. Yeah. Like he pretty much beat Uatu, and Uatu had to go into Doctor Strange's pocket universe to escape from him. So it's like you saw that he was almost there, but they probably kind of brought it back to earth. They're like, no, he can't beat him. Like,
well, there were 3 of them this time.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
No,
I mean,
that's
that's the only thing, really,
Yeah, that's
excuse
all-
I can come up with.
Right.
Well, they were also pureblood watchers, whereas Uatu was a
Yeah, he was recruited, yeah.
manufactured human that got turned into one. So there probably were some sort of limitations on
Mhm.
it.
Uatu is human? He has the big head, he doesn't
Well,
look human.
Well, no,
I know a lot of big head humans.
besides training.
It was holding all of the
Real time.
knowledge
Yeah, I was gonna
of
say,
multiverse.
when you become a watcher, your head grows.
It's like a
Sorry.
dune worm. Eventually, you change shape over time.
His
Peggy's gonna
head
look very
grew
different
3
after a while.
sizes that day.
For some reason, I actually thought that the Watchers were all like one species, and that there were some that there were some that were Watchers and some that weren't, and then they picked one and then they promoted.
I think it's
him.
like Trills without the symbiote. Like,
Mm.
there's lots of Trills, but only some of them, you know. So they're not born a Watcher, it's some other thing. It's like, you could be a Watcher one day. But no, like what you guys were describing, it's the Fast and Furious effect, where you have a big bad, and then in the
Yeah.
next movie, they come around.
Mhm.
And if you have a third movie, they're like part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still don't like it.
Part of the family. You have to use
A
the
fam-
right word.
part of a family.
That part.
But I still don't like
Maybe
it.
they use that moment to show, let me get out of my thoughts. Maybe they just use that moment with, him blinking, Ultron out of existence, because they used him before to show the big bad, our previous big bad, Thanos. He shows up, he cuts him in half.
Yeah?
And now, that's our big bad, and we have to show how more powerful these people are.
Yeah.
So now, he's gone.
So he becomes a scapegoat to show power.
The new generation
Right.
establishes itself by cutting down the previous generation.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome scene with Thanos.
Yeah,
But
that
if
was
you-
like one of my top 3. I'm like, that's all we had to do.
Right.
But you do, being awesome costs something, and you go back and watch Endgame, and it's gonna be taken a little notch down, because it's like, well, you're just gonna, but yes, but at the moment, you see it.
Right.
That actually kind of serves Ultron's original, if they had followed that in the original movie track, it should have been him facing off against Thanos to begin with. So, Ultron's vision of what's gonna happen to the Avengers, that's kind of one of the reasons why he went quote unquote rogue, when he saw the future using the Mind Stone.
Well, we saw Thanos against Vision.
Yeah, but if he had been Ultron Vision,
Yeah.
maybe he would have won, I don't know.
Right.
See, that would have been.
Probably more
Because
even ground though.
he was
I think.
he had
Way
a
more
different,
even ground.
for lack of a better word, mindset in that one. Like he was in that one. He was in Infinity War. He was protecting Wanda, and that's all he cared about. He wasn't really trying to set, like, he wasn't like Ultron programmed. He was Vision, so
Right.
it's like
Mhm.
that's a different mindset.
So I was gonna ask this later, but you're on this track. So what's a what if story you would have liked to have seen? Like maybe
Ooh.
what if Ultron versus Thanos?
It's the gentleman of the right.
What if Justin Hammer had been kidnapped by the Ten Rings
Oh, that
instead
was
of Tony Stark?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would have rescued.
Exactly.
That would have been a 2-page comic, the shortest one in history.
Justin
Whiplash
Hammer's
comes
gone.
after
With
him.
Not sports.
Okay.
But we would have had no Iron Man, so
Yeah,
would
yeah.
have changed things.
I wouldn't have bought that. So
Very true.
I guess similar to like what if Hulk fought the Mech Avengers, I would have gotten rid of like the Mech Avengers part and just did what if Hulk fought the Avengers. But like Age of Ultron, like when Scarlet Witch is sort of like messed with his mind, he doesn't snap out of it and he just keeps going on that rampage, and it just gets worse and worse into like a sort of World War Hulk situation.
Uh-huh.
What if Miles Morales was allowed to live in Wakanda and study there?
I was gonna say, what if Miles Morales was allowed in the MCU?
MCU.
I think you have to start with that what if.
What if would have been a really cool place for them to do things that are actually a little more comic accurate, that people were like, oh, I wish you had done that or something. So like,
Yeah.
you could have had Hank Pym create Ultron, or these other things that we know happened that we cannot shoehorn them back into the established universe easily, but you could show some of those stories and fans would get this win.
Oh, that would have been a really good idea.
Well, no, so like Scarlet Witch and Pietro and Magneto.
Yeah.
If you just, it's like, I've got a crazy story and you're telling your friend about it and they're like, no, that's what it's actually supposed to have happened. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah, I would have done that.
I would have liked to have seen what if, like everyone who were snapped,
The other
if
half got
the
snapped?
other half
Yeah.
instead, to see how or if they would have been able to resolve.
I
and bring
was
people back.
convinced we were going to get that story, and
Same.
I was shocked that we didn't.
Yeah.
I really thought that was like the most obvious what if story.
Yeah, cause it's like if you don't have
You don't have
Tony
Thor.
Stark, and if you don't have, why can I not think of Ant-Man's name right now?
Scott.
Thank
He
you.
wasn't snapped, so
He wasn't
Scott.
snapped,
But
but
you'd
he
have-
would, but
You'd
you know,
have the
that's
rest
what,
of the Ant-Man team still to help part of it,
Yeah.
but Tony
Yeah.
Stark still cracks it, so.
yeah, so it's kind of like, what would have happened
Yeah,
if, you know.
That would have been amazing.
Do we know if Riri got snapped?
We don't know.
We don't
We have no idea.
yeah, probably Peter would have filled in the Tony
Oh, yeah.
Stark role.
Something that bothered me was, Storm or Storm Thor or Thor Storm. Like,
Godstorm.
I think you can't just throw a character like that into What If and not explain how the hell she became Thor. I mean, like, if there was more another What If, like, how did Storm get the powers of Thor? Like, I want
I'm
to know.
personally okay with having her disappear, but I would have like
That would've been a
that
great
as a
story.
what if story. That would have been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a writer who had an outline for the season, and each episode set up the team. A lot more like season one. I
Yeah.
bet you. And then they were kind of like shot down. But it's like they had a whole Storm episode. They had a Teenage Birdie episode, meeting people. They had a, yes, and it's just,
Yeah.
probably.
I was just gonna say, to touch base on like the what if the other half had been snapped. Doctor Strange did say that there was only one way that they won. So
Yeah.
even if we did see that story, we would see them epically fail.
Yeah.
But that's a good What If.
Yeah, it's a good what
But
if.
we also know there's another universe where they won.
Yeah.
With the book of, I always say Ashanti. You guys can say something different, but I think it's Ashanti. I'm sorry. The book of Ashanti.
Ashanti.
Actually, speaking of which, I was speaking of Justin Hammer. I wouldn't mind seeing what would happen if he would have gotten the pin part. Like that would be hilarious to me. Like just him shrinking like everything and trying to make a Yellow Jacket like the
my
movie.
God. I'm sorry, I just got this vision of him like shrinking New York and then just going.
That is like one of the most irritating characters in the MCU for me.
I know, and that's why he would shrink New York and just be Godzilla through it.
I would say, what if Pietro lived instead of Wanda in Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
Like a
What
sort of
if
switch.
Pietro had lived? I have a fanfic background, and I 100% would have loved to have seen just a little coffee shop AU. Just what if the Avengers ran a coffee shop? Like that just sounds like such a lovely
Or
Or
shawarma
shawarma. I was just
restaurant.
at shawarma restaurant.
Like that just sounds like fun to me. I'm here for just some wholesome.
You know, the crazier your idea, the more it's going to get a spin-off show. So if you're like, what if the Avengers all had a little bit of their power and they went to a high school together? And that becomes its own cartoon, like instantly.
I mean yes, that is a
It's
cartoon.
just-
What is to happen?
An amusing one I would have thought of is, what if Fox's mutants had been in the MCU the entire time?
Yeah, and I mean, you have an opportunity to do more stories.
Mhm.
And I think Storm made us very, very happy when we saw her, but then you're immediately like, wait, no, why don't we have a lot more of this? Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have it before season 3
No.
because they didn't
Yeah.
have access
Yeah.
to it.
Because it kind of goes back to what she said. It's like, where did she come from? Like, how did she get here?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even though she's a character we're established with, if someone is watching the show and they have no idea who the X-Men are, here's another character that just got thrown into the story.
Yeah, but the
and
people watching Disney Plus probably don't.
I know. I'm just, you know, playing devil's
And
advocate.
that's the hope. That's the hope. I'm a little bit more old school. I like to see what if the original Guardians met with the current Guardians,
Yeah, that would be cool.
because Yondu is the linking member of the original team and the new team. So I'd like to see how they would have meshed with Martinez, Charlie 13,
Mhm.
and how they met with, Rocket and Groot. That would have just been an amazing episode just to see the just the chemistry between them.
You know what it would have been a nice thing for them to do is like some of the teases that they have given us, like Star Fox or Hercules or the other Guardians team that they teased at the end of the second movie. What if any of those? Like, if you're not gonna bring them into the MCU, you could have animated them, and you know, those actors are all on contract. They could have done voice work.
But also,
sorry, Mike.
if like he probably knows, like the What If comics were actually heavily X-Men. Like there was a lot of them. So it's like we only got an X-Men in the last 2 episodes. Like all the other ones were just MCU characters.
They had a lot of source material. They just didn't want to use it.
I would love.
Well, they were using the title and the concept. And that was it.
You know. Read the comics. Gee whiz.
So, what do you think that What If has a place in the future of the MCU?
Yes.
Is it still viable storytelling after we're done with the multiverse saga?
Yes. And I would say that because if they stick to the anthology formula, they can introduce newer characters. They can introduce bigger stories, and that will help incorporate these characters into the cinematic side, so that way there's not so much of a worry of who is his character. This episode had him or her in it. Let's see what it's all about.
So you want to use it as a vehicle for introducing
Exactly.
characters, even though we all didn't like that.
Honestly.
But you think maybe moving forward?
If they see the mistake of how they introduced before and they fix it, I think it could be a fantastic vehicle.
And also now that they're introducing the X-Men, they can actually include more X-Men into What If.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a whole plethora of things that they can do with it. So there is a future for it. I don't know if they're going to do it. I'm kind of doubtful that they're going to do it. I wish they would, but I wouldn't mind seeing. Like I love the series, so I wouldn't mind seing like another season of it.
Nick, what do you think?
I think they've gone so big that I think there's a definite future for it, but if they're smart, they will bring it way down in scale and have some of these really huge characters have their I don't know, Cheers and Frasier guest starring moments, but you can do things in What If, and we see that. That's why season 3, they're telling us this is the last season. They're setting it up that way. This is the final Friday, we swear. But at the same time, they're totally pitching a season 4. They're giving us these things like, see all the stuff we can do? And I think if you did something in What If, it's low stakes, and you can play with all of the pieces, and you do something like the Red Hulk and the Thunderbolts together. And you could show audiences that, and it helps them sell their IP and lift it up. And they were doing that. Y'all kept mentioning, the Eternals. It's like the Eternals didn't do as well as it should have, and they're like, hey, say it again? Missed opportunity. But this is the thing, is that it's very clear to me that the company was saying, we had this character here. Can we dust them off and maybe just show you guys one more time? We've got that. Here's Shang-Chi in the Old West, and he's so fun. Are you sure you don't want more Shang-Chi?
The emergence is brought up in 2 different episodes in season 3. Like I was like, are they trying to make fetch happen?
with the Eternals.
We kind of had that thought too. We were like, why do they keep mentioning the emergence if they're not going to continue with anything with the Eternals? It was really making me mad.
Everywhere.
It's in Brave New World. I mean, that's
But I really think that they were. Well, first of all, you have to think about how long it is between production of a thing and when we see it. And so I think that they were queuing up what their plans were, and then they pivoted. And so like I think some of the characters that we were seeing in What If season 3 were meant to be the next line, and now we have pivoted. Here and then to you.
Yeah, because I still really want What If to be an anthology series, but if they're going to come back with it, it gives them an opportunity to, as someone said, give us things that we really want to see, and they're not going to do it. For example, what if there was a Young Avengers? And they could, all those characters that they gave us as, this might be Young Avenger, this might be Young Avenger. Right. Oh, she's putting together a Young Avengers team. We'll just do a What If episode. and satisfy us until you actually are ready to do it.
So I want to remind everybody in the end credits of the last episode, right? They did a montage of like possible characters.
Yeah, they did.
And here are some of them: Spider-Man with 6 arms, Riri Williams as the Punisher, Maestro as Doctor Strange, Jubilee as Silver Surfer, Deadpool as Cable, Gamora as Gore the God Butcher, and Star-Lord with the 10 rings.
Yeah.
That was an advertisement for season 4, and they're smart about it. But yeah, and there's things what Anthony just said. So it's like if you did, people are talking about Miss Marvel and changing her power set, and what if you could give her stretchiness and shape shifting again, and you could try it in a low impact environment, or you could finally give us Squirrel Girl.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Yes.
And that just,
Thank
know,
you for saying
and
it. Thank
if
you
people
for
don't
saying
like it, hey, it's what if, chill out, right?
Squirrel Girl did defeat Galactus, I think.
Yeah.
It's a great comic. I have read that one. That was really, really fun.
She defeated everyone. She goes
And
up
she's
against.
just, I don't want to give it away, but you turn the page and she's just sitting on top of him unconscious, and she's like, okay, I know what you're thinking. Let me explain.
I don't know that we're gonna get more What If soon.
Oh yeah, it'll be
Because
let it lie fallow for a while. It's
yeah,
like
well,
Jurassic
also, I think that they're going to be done with multiverse stories after Secret Wars, and so I don't think we'll get anything. It's gonna be a while.
Is it official or unofficial that we're doing a reset?
Yeah.
It's official.
It's official.
Fairly official.
So you don't want to play up
But-
the IP with those actors right now.
Yeah, well, part of what, and this was a recent interview with Feige, it sounds kind of like they will eventually recast some of the characters, but probably not immediately, but we'll live in a universe in which those people exist and we just aren't seeing them right now. Much in the way that I think we're going to eventually hit the, when we mesh everything together, just everything's there. We have all of the toys in the sandbox, we're just not looking at that part of, they're in that corner that we can't see right now.
That part.
So I think that's how it's going to be. So I think it's gonna be, when they want to reboot again, we'll see the multiverse again.
And a new set of what ifs for that.
Yeah.
So we've got about 8 more minutes. So let's talk about like our favorite moments throughout the whole series. So like, what stories, twists, what did you enjoy the most? Your favorite episodes, favorite moments, all that kind of good stuff. We're just talking fun.
Well, as an escapist, I mean, I reached my happiest of happy places with T'Challa as Star-Lord, and when you see, so my moment is probably Thanos still gently trying to sell genocide like a guy at a bar. Like, I'm just saying it would have worked, and they're like, well, we've been through this, but yes, that's, and because it is, I would like the stories where the good guys generally come out on top and the bad guys generally have a consequence, and that was just, it was wonderful, so yeah.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Okay, I guess I'm kind of a sucker for chaos because I love the season finale of episode 2 where Cohorty and Captain Carter got all the weapons and fought Supreme Strange.
You are a lover of chaos.
Yeah, that was so chaotic, but I was just like, from them freeing everybody that he captured in the jewels and everybody fighting, and to them standing on the precipice and getting everybody throwing their weapons at him.
Yeah.
And it's like I was like, I don't know who has what, but this is freaking awesome. And the fact and Captain Carter using the Reality Stone to counteract him multiplying himself, and all of them fighting together was just like, I think I blanked for a minute watching it, and then I came back and I was like, okay, that was cool. Do it again. But yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not even a moment. It's the zombies episode.
Okay.
That was just.
So you're excited for October?
Yes.
All right.
Very well done. Very well done. And if you've ever read Marvel Zombies, you kind of get that idea. They respected that property, but the way they told it, you stayed glued to that TV, and that was me the entire entire time.
If you don't know, the Marvel Zombies cartoon is finally releasing in October.
Yes.
I would say mine, like the storyline that I really enjoyed was the one where everybody died and the world lost its mightiest heroes.
Oh.
Because I liked the new team that they assembled. Like, I really get behind the stories when they assemble a different version of the Avengers.
Yeah.
But I want the next story. I want the next story of the new team of Avengers. I want the next story of when Killmonger winds up killing Tony, and we've got Pepper and Shuri coming in. I want the story of Pepper and Shuri taking down Killmonger. Like I liked a lot of those new team ups that they gave us at the ends of episodes. They're my whole thing is like the Captain's America, when they had the Captain Marvel and Steve together, or yes, give me that. I want it. So what are some of the episodes and moments that you guys liked?
I was gonna say, given that in live action, Peggy Carter and Natasha both are the only females surrounded by male-dominated groups, I really liked seeing their friendship in the first two seasons and that partnership, and just kind of that, they needed that type of relationship in their life, and I loved seeing that, and I wish we could have gotten to see that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Hela and the 10 Rings. I just thought that was a really interesting idea, and I wanted to know more about Hela, her backstory, her motivations, and Shang-Chi's father, I forget his name.
Wen-Wu.
Yeah, he was awesome, and the way it's just so unexpected the way they meshed,
It's like you like them, but you really don't want them together. It's like, I don't know
they were
about
also
that.
just
See how it looks.
They were so cool.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks.
It was such a good story for her, characterization wise, and so different from what we saw. And like, it's the perfect what if kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here and then
I loved how at the end they redeemed the Watchers that were disagreeing with them.
Yes.
They didn't have to kill them, they just respectfully said, you don't have to be a jerk, you can just be, to quote James Gunn's Superman, you can just be punk rock about this, and you can just, enjoy the world as it is. And I like that he kind of has this moment, I don't remember his name, but the other guy has it, his Watch's mentor, just kind of sits with him, and he's like, oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
My memory of this episode is kind of vague because I don't rewatch What If because principles. But when Watu took Black Widow, she was the only person left alive in the universe and put her in the universe with
That
that.
season 1.
Yes.
Yeah, when you put her her into a universe that lost theirs, I would have loved to have seen their reaction.
See, that's another one. I want to see the rest of that.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good zombie story, but having Peter Parker being like that teenage kid, being like, oh my god, zombies, zombies, zombies. That was awesome. That was a good exciting episode for me. That was hilarious.
I did giggle
to me.
when he did that. I giggled out loud when
And
he
then
did
the
that.
horror movie Burn, that was hilarious. We have American reality TV shows, we don't need horror movies.
Having Jason Isaacs voice the head Watcher in charge was so fabulous.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of the voice work on the
it
show was really
is.
good. I mean, Sebastian Stan aside.
When you have a consequence-free environment to play with these toys, and you do say, show me something new, and I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but there were moments that even if I wasn't all in on the episode, where I'm like, oh, that's cool, and like, making Agatha and what? Arishem, a Celestial, a Celestial was like, it was just, I did not expect that. It was like, it's the same in reverse of Scott Lang's Head in a Jar. It's like, you're showing me something I did not anticipate.
Yeah, so I think we would all be happy to see What If return at some point, but maybe not. for now.
Oh, yeah, give it a minute, new cast, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
it's-
Maybe wait like a year or two.
Yeah.
So, don't forget to rate us in the app.
Please, please.
You can mention us all by name, tell them how much you love us, that you want to, have us come back and be panelists, and just let them know everything that you like about this track, about the panels that you've been on. Don't forget to rate them all. And thank you very much. This was fun.